Welcome guys to another episode of How I Got the Shot. So this shoot was shot in Miami with the model named Naeemah. As you can see, the final edits were incredible. I completely loved this shoot. I loved her posing, I loved her poise, her facial expressions, her ability to maneuver within the location. All led to me just being able to focus on the photography. So here's the inspiration for the shoot. So I wanted to start with the idea of juxtaposition before I started working on the mood board. When I was thinking about the idea of juxtaposition, my goal was to take two different concepts and bring them together. So in this one, you're taking a dress that would typically be for nightlife and you're bringing it to the beach. I felt like the reflectiveness or the shimmeriness, if those are words, from the dress would work really well in hard light. And that was the beginning of everything. And from there, I kind of started thinking about the lighting, what gear would I use? So I ended up using a reflector for most of it. I didn't want to use strobes. I also took into consideration one of my favorite photographers, Maria B. I love her use of hard light, so I wanted to do the same. So in that case, we found areas that were shaded, but there was enough space for us to bring the reflector in to be able to bounce light directly onto her, as you can see in the videos. So as we go through capture one, you can see that because most of the images are shot in the same area, the adjustments that I made were pretty much the same. So I pushed up my brightness a little bit, brought down my whites to save the skyline, and made sure the temperature was right between all the images. There wasn't a lot of additional changes needed because we got a lot of things right in camera. For this photo shoot, I knew I was gonna have to edit very heavily. My camera settings were part of that reason. I was shooting with a very low aperture to get a nice blur on the background because the background itself wasn't super important, but the colors were. So I want to make sure you can see the water. You can see the rock formation behind there in the tree, but I know I didn't need to see much more detail than that. And when you're shooting with a lower aperture, everything becomes soft except for like the main point that's in focus. So knowing that I knew that her skin was gonna be very soft, I know I didn't need to do a ton of like heavy editing on it. And most of my changes were very minor. I also knew because I was putting this on Instagram, this wasn't gonna be printed anywhere, that I didn't need to have everything completely perfect. I just need to make sure the appearance of perfection was there. So I made sure like the major transitions between areas were smooth and make sure it was sharp. And that was it. Let's quickly go through these files. So when I say quick, I mean quick. So most of the changes were here. We're on this file, on this layer. I came here, cleaned up under her eyes, cleaned up under her neck, cleaned on her shoulders, cleaned up a little bit on her thigh. And when I tell you guys that was it, I also got rid of this one major flyaway. Well, the major flyaways around here. Outside of that, that's pretty much it. And we zoom out. Because we understand view and distance, and we understand that this is also gonna mainly be on Instagram. This isn't a shot that I was going to print for any reason. The retouching didn't need to be super heavy. So I just made sure that it just looked good from a distance and we're good to go. And that's the shot. So I applied the same thinking through all the rest of the edits. And I also wanted her to get a ton of edits from this look because I was just super, super excited that everything that we had planned worked out. And she loved the images. I love the images. My team loved the images, and I hope you do too.